Good afternoon from sunny Jönköping in Sweden. We are live in the DreamHack mobile series brought to you by Samsung. Don't miss the next generation. Hello everyone, I'm Lisa Malambry, aka Lucy May. We are now into the quarterfinals. I'm jumping ahead of myself, that's tomorrow. The quarterfinals for Clash Royale. And to kick that off with me, we've got Woody and Allie Speed. How is the day going for you guys? Oh my goodness, you have friends.
We do, we have some minions over here. They're real cute.
Oh my goodness.
They're looking good. They're flying around, they're hovering on the desk. Hold on, let me.
And there's the three, as there would be in game.
Yes, very cute.
I'm gonna shoot him down though. I got a princess over here and
wow.
She's looking deadly. She's got
Pew, pew.
3
You got
arrows.
archers, you got princess.
One for each of them.
Listen, we're gonna take down that prince before you can do anything. Back up. We got a baby Dargan over there too.
Dargan?
A little baby Dargan.
That's his nickname.
That's the desk jargon. Dargan.
What in here, is any of this part of your deck that you play with?
I love baby dragon. I love baby dragon.
I think you need to have baby dragon's a staple.
I play princess.
Yeah.
She's got really long range. She sets my heart on fire.
She's so squishy though. You got to protect her.
It's true.
How do you protect her?
With a big boy in front.
I protect her with range. I just keep her away from the action, and as soon as she gets a few shots off on tower, that's value right there. I don't need to worry if they take her out. You know what? She'll be back for more action later.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you heard it from us, but let's hear from the pros. Some tips and tricks right here, straight from their mouths.
Well, it takes time to learn the decks like in depth since you can construct decks in the game. But I think if you focus on one deck, you know this deck is used by other good players, then I think it's a good idea to just focus on one deck all the time and then get good at this deck before you move on to the next.
It's easy for new players to feel like they're progressing because they're always facing people around their same skill level. And honestly, my best tip to just becoming better is just play a lot.
Yeah, so patience, that's my tip, for sure.
I personally would rather not make the starting play, but just wait for my opponent and then react to that.
It's very important in like Clash Royale to manage your elixir and always play as passive as you can in basically any archetype that you use. So I wouldn't recommend anybody just spamming things at the bridge, but take your time, think about what cards you need to have in cycle, maybe try to understand your opponent's deck.
To keep track of cycle, you can just count 4 cards. Let's say your opponent plays Barbarians, and that's your main counter to your Hog Rider. Then if he plays Barbarians, and then you count 4 more cards, that means your opponent has Barbarians back in cycle.
When you're building a deck, I think that you should have a couple of things. Defense against both units that are from the ground and from the air.
So you need to have a pretty good synergy within your deck, so you're able to defend both cheap decks, such as Hog Cycle decks, and Golem decks, and Lava Hound decks.
Then you should also have a win condition, something that you can just take down towers, like a Hog Rider, like a balloon, or something that does a lot of damage to the King Towers.
But I wouldn't say there's like one specific deck or one specific archetype that's better for beginners. Everything works if you're playing good at it, you know? So I'd say just go with what you're comfortable with and practice that a lot, and you'll get better quite fast.
I was writing those down, excuse me. I was just, making sure that was clear. Patience, that is a big factor, I want to say, in Clash Royale. Wouldn't you agree, Woody?
Oh, certainly. You have to agree with that. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. Know when to walk away and when to run, but most often you got to manage that cycle properly and make sure not to overcommit. I think that's the #1 mistake that I see from a lot of newer players. They either throw too much elixir in there trying to get that damage in and then don't have anything to defend with, or they fail to defend and just lose their tower outright.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like that video was just a little... I feel personally attacked.
They were talking to you.
That was directly at me. Yes, I was like, oh, okay, that's what I do. Okay, I do that too.
I've had to learn the hard way in that as well. Like you said, spam that bridge, and I'm like, this is a great push. I've got all my guys out there, and then I'm like,
rage.
Here comes Hog Rider on the other side. Oh no. Yeah.
And then you've got nothing to defend with.
Yeah.
And you have 1 elixir and 7 units coming at your tower, and you're like,
that tower's done.
Well, there we go.
Hey, well, if you find yourself making mistakes more often than you think you should, maybe watching this upcoming match would be a good way to remedy that. Listening to the pros, finding out which decks they're using, and seeing how they pilot them to the championship. We've got a $5,000 prize pool here today for this Clash Royale competition.
Very excited.
And,
And
we only got
that's-
8 players left to contend for it.
Yeah, that's why you guys are here. Keep watching. Take all of the notes. It doesn't stop with that video you just watched. It's going to continue with every broadcast that we do. So let's take a look, Woody, at this bracket as you were trying to, you got some real great notes there on some players. Let's talk about them.
Well, certainly we got to get everything we can to bring to bear here. Flobby and Tocilovac are going to be our first contenders. Flobby was advancing through the online qualifier while Tocilovac was in our
Open.
our local, our open,
Local,
right,
open,
I believe,
sure.
yeah. So same thing for all the players on down. The top player from online, the bottom from local. So we have Bob the Turtle versus Schwartzen. Allie, you want to read off those other 2 matches we have later today?
Oh, sure. So we have Hive Hunter versus
One Hive
Mostem-
Hunter, yeah.
Oh, yes, just one. Just one Hive Hunter, yes. There's supposed to be a 1 there. It's okay. One Hive Hunter facing off against Mostema, and then finally Gator Shot against Garcisales later on. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to say the harder names. I see what you're doing, and I love that.
You read me like a
He
book,
set you
Allie.
up.
he set me up a little bit, but it's okay. I appreciate it. I am very excited to see these guys coming in, and some of these names we recognize, right? These are we've seen these guys before. A couple of these guys who
Absolutely.
came in through the onlines, they're big names in Clash.
Contenders in the Clash Royale League, the official pro league, you'll notice Flobby is a player, or rather for first season was playing for SK Gaming in Clash Royale League and actually made it to the finals of Season 1 along with his team. He was also a finalist in the Gamer-G Masters 2017 competition, so he's got experience on both solo and team formats. Tocilovac, though, a bit of an unknown name. I think that's the case for a lot of the local qualifiers. Haven't heard of them before, but this is an awesome opportunity to get your name out there and prove that you are among the best.
For sure, I would be absolutely honored to play against any of these people, and I know that it would be a short match, but it would be a learning experience and a good one, and a chance at $5,000, which nothing to shake a stick
Yeah,
at.
that's why DreamHack is fantastic because, you know, you watch all of the pro leagues perhaps going down in your favorite games, and DreamHack gives you an opportunity to flex your pro plays perhaps, see if you've got what it takes. So definitely always keep up with all of the DreamHacks happening globally, and maybe it's going to come near you, and you can sign up in the local qualifiers as half of these teams for each Brawl Stars we just had finished. We concluded that a little bit ago. Now into Clash Royale. You have an opportunity to see what you're up against and where your level's at, and you potentially could be moving on into the finals and be a champion in said game.
Well, that's what I love the most about Clash Royale. It's a solo competition. For events like these, all you got to do is prepare yourself and get your decks ready, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about team dynamics or anything like that. If you are a tennis player, for instance, if you like going in just by yourself and proving what you can do, I think Clash Royale is a good analog there in the video game
Definitely.
world,
I think
sports world.
it's the thinking man's game, and it is the lone wolf's game, and I appreciate it very much. I'm looking forward to getting some tips and tricks here, and not just looking at these decks that maybe I could copy pasta from somewhere, but looking at how I could actually make use of these, why these work, how I'm going to use this to my advantage, and stop making those really last-minute rush mistakes where I just blow all my elixir and then I lose.
Yeah, so we see here the first deck for Flobby that he's chosen. Woody, walk us through what we're looking at right here.
Yeah, this is a P.E.K.K.A. Battle Ram deck, and I'll just say before we get too deep into this, all the players had to choose 3 decks, and all 3 decks couldn't have any cards that overlapped except for their spells. They're allowed to have
right.
spells and overlap, but this first one is a P.E.K.K.A. Ram deck. This is kind of known as a control deck. It is a bit heavier because it's got that big P.E.K.K.A. card in there, but because it relies a bit more on chip damage from things like Battle Ram getting a hit in, maybe minions reaching tower once or twice, it's perfectly happy to just play it slow and passive and let the attacker come at you and then counterattack with overwhelming force.
And I see Zap, and I see some Poison there, which is going to be useful against a whole lot of things. I know we saw Earthquake a little bit in Dallas, we saw it, and that's heavy building damage. But talk to me a little bit about Poison utility and Zap utility for mobs or buildings or things
Absolutely.
like that.
So oftentimes you do want to have those 2 spells in your deck. You usually want to have one kind of bigger spell to deal with more beefy, bigger targets, and then kind of a light spell, either Zap or Log or Giant Snowball fits that role pretty well. Poison and Zap are a good combo here because they're able to hit and deal damage to aerial targets. So something big and heavy like P.E.K.K.A. really doesn't do so well when there's a group of minions kind of swarming around it. Poison and Zap can help counter that alongside things like the Flying Machine and Electro Wizard, which you also see in the deck. And something interesting to know about Electro Wizard, when he lands on the arena, he actually lands with a Zap spell. So on top of already having Zap in the deck, Electro Wizard alongside that makes it really easy to respond to pretty much any attack mid-sized.
Output a little bit of splash damage there, stun the enemies. Is there like a knockback effect on him, or is it just the stun?
No, he doesn't have a knockback effect. But let's go actually move ahead over to Tocilovac. His deck is up there as well. We call this a Lumberloon deck.
Lumberloon!
Using that Lumberjack to try to tank for the balloon, and then when the Lumberjack goes down, he drops that Rage spell that gets the balloon to the target really quick.
Here's my problem. I don't know how to counter balloons, because I don't have Tornado in my deck, like ever.
Ah.
So that's maybe.
Well, you could put a building in your deck. Balloons also target onto buildings.
That is true. I need to focus more on.
Well.
Yeah, I need to focus more on distracting.
I feel like I always send minions to stuff like that. And for the cards that I have unlocked currently.
Yeah.
Minions are a great counter. Mega Minion also. You see Electro Wizard and Musketeer here and there, and those are also great counters for Balloon.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful because oftentimes the balloon's got something going in front of it to act as a little tank, maybe an Ice Golem or a Lumberjack, or in some cases, Lava Hound is a really big tank that often gets paired with Balloon. Not this deck, but...
Yeah, but that's when you let the tank go front, and you've got something attacking that tank, and then I put my minions right behind.
Ah, you go for the sneak attack.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Yeah, sneaky.
I like that. I like that.
I think we're about to dive into our first match of Clash Royale quarterfinals here at DreamHack Mobile Series. My goodness. Allie, Woody, take it away.
Well, as we said earlier, there's 3 decks for each player, so that means that this is going to be a best of 5 set. You've got to win with each of your decks, so you can't just hope that you get a good matchup here and there. You actually have to be able to get the win with all 3 of them.
Right, it is Conquest format, and we are going to see that. We saw that a little bit in Dallas, where if you get 2 wins, that's great, well and good and all for you, but then whatever you're left with, that's what you're playing. And in some cases, there are decks that you just can't counter that well. Right,
I was taking a look at some of the decks that Flobby and Tocilovac are using before the matches began, and I gotta say, I think that Flobby is a strong favorite for this matchup, not only because of the experience that he's gotten in Clash Royale League, but also because of the 3 decks that he brought. In particular, this P.E.K.K.A. Battle Ram deck against this Lumberloon deck has about a 21% net win advantage, according to one of my favorite stats site, Stats Royale.
I like those odds. So let's see, we've got, just for you guys watching at home, we've got Flobby down at the bottom there, and at the top of the arena, we have Tocilovac here. And just in case, maybe, this is your first time seeing Clash Royale, got your King Towers in the mid, Princess Towers on the side, and the rest is yet to come. We'll see as we go.
Tocilovac putting up a fantastic defense in the first minute here. You saw that clump of minions over on the right side trying to support P.E.K.K.A. Those minions, though, going down to the combination of that Ice Golem death damage and the Giant Snowball shows plenty of skill in defending against those mixed attacks with a really big heavy tank on the floor and minions flying in the sky.
Sure.
Tocilovac with a great hit already on the left hand.
I was going to say, he's got a decent amount of damage on the left Princess Tower down there for Flobby, and it's looking like he's going to get a bit more there.
Flobby playing a little sloppy here, but I will give him a bit of an advantage in double elixir time. I think the fact that he's got a bigger, heavier deck is going to benefit him in this double elixir time, which is going to be starting right now.
Yeah, that's definitely important to consider as well. So with just 1 minute left on the clock, it is now ×2 double elixir. And I know we saw that in Dallas as well. There are some decks that are built a little bit more in favor of that time. You're kind of biding your time, doing as much defense as you can, but then this is where maybe Flobby might really shine here with his opportunities to run these bigger cards in double elixir.
Very awkward defense, though. Poison on the bridge is not what you want to see to defend against the Musketeer. It's a 4-for-4 trade, and the Musketeer got 2 shots off on that right side tower down to 751.
Oh, here comes the loon.
Is pushing both lanes at the same time, really catching Flobby off guard here. There's a chance the tower might go down, Allie.
It's looking like it. 6:32 left. Oh, there it goes. The loon takes it out. That's 1 tower down for Flobby.
Flobby needs this right side tower right now, and there's a good chance he does manage to get it. It's going to be a 1-1 tie, but Flobby down to 751 damage on that right side tower is not in a healthy position at all.
No, but I think, yeah, now he's going to go down. The Lumberjack won't quite make it to that right tower, but the Flying Machine's just chipping away at the King Tower up there. 3 seconds, and I think we're going to see an overtime here.
I think there's a good chance of that. Now, in Flobby's favor, there isn't going to be any big spells into Tocilovac's deck to try to take that tower down. He's got to do the old-fashioned way, trying to get a balloon on target. He's got the Ice Golem out in front to tank the minions. Doing that swat from behind, not good enough. No, that's going to be death damage on the tower. Boom! Tower goes out at 423, and Flobby is in dire straits. Can he get this P.E.K.K.A. to connect?
Oh my. Oh, and okay, so the Ice Golem is down. He's coming around. The P.E.K.K.A.'s chasing him. Oh, the Barbarian. Okay. I love watching him get distracted. I feel a little bad for the P.E.K.K.A. when he gets distracted.
Poor P.E.K.K.A.
He's just
Big
a big
Mama
boy. He's just trying to do what he can. He's doing his best.
Alonso, this King Tower is starting to get into a dangerous spot here for Tocilovac on the top. I think that he was willing to soak a little bit of damage there, but Flobby's been just consistently applying pressure to that right side lane and might get a P.E.K.K.A. swing here.
I think the P.E.K.K.A. might get one hit. He does get one hit on that King Tower.
So that doesn't equilibrate us just yet. I think that there's still an advantage for Tocilovac here. He's got an opportunity. Can this balloon make it to tower, or will Flobby be able to push it off? That's going to be death damage.
Getting there.
The Barbarian gets the swing. That's it. The tower goes down, and Tocilovac, the underdog in this matchup, claims the first win.
You love to see it. We love an underdog. We love to see a pro be challenged right here at DreamHack in Jönköping. Unbelievable. That last push on that tower, I wasn't sure it was going to happen, especially with that King Tower looking so low. I'm a little speechless. I'm a little flabbergasted here.
Well, the P.E.K.K.A. Ram deck, as we were saying earlier, plays really well on defense. It's a control deck, and so it really prefers to try to get that 1-0 victory. It's not a deck that really is looking to take that much damage from left side, right side, split lane attacks in single elixir time. So I think the fact that Flobby had a bit of difficulty defending early on is what really deliver the loss in this game. It also doesn't really play well in caddy corner towers. So Flobby had his right side up against Tocilovac's left side. That's not the situation when you want to be in. When you have a big counter-attacking troop like P.E.K.K.A., you want to play same lane. So you saw him going for the King Tower, and I think even though Flobby did more tower damage overall that game, he got the loss because he wasn't able to concentrate his firepower on the tower of his choice.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I just still am terrified. Every time I see that balloon coming in with that rage pushing it towards the tower so aggressively, that's such a spicy combo. And I think I'm gonna have to maybe rotate that into my deck.
I think you'd be right to do so.
I think it might be a good thing to do.
Ice Golem Loon strikes fast and has no remorse, dropping bombs. And that first game going to Tocilovac means we've got game number 2 now. It's gonna be Flobby and Tocilovac both playing a Goblin Giant Sparky deck. Now, the only difference between these two decks I see is a Mega Minion for Flobby. That'll give him, I think, a slight edge over Tocilovac's regular minions. But otherwise, it's a mirror match and looks like it's going to be almost exactly the same here, Allie.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take notes here. I'm gonna take lessons. Look at what's being dropped in the back line for a casual kind of slow push. The patience, the hunter coming down. See, because like honestly, when I first started playing, I didn't even consider any of this. I didn't even consider placement, position, building position, making sure things were out of distance from spell cards, so you can't get more value on things like poison, having a building right next to a tower. What are we seeing? You're making faces.
Tocilovac is on an absolute tear. This Sparky's getting really close to the tower, charges up the shot and lands it really early, just in the first minute. Flobby's left side tower going down. This is an absolute upset. For this to happen so early, Allie, that Sparky deals a ton of damage, and you would expect to see Flobby a little bit, better at defense earlier on. I'm not really sure.
What's that? What do you think
why
is
there's
happening
been
here?
such an offset here? Well,
is it misplays? Is it just that Tocilovac is just...
I think it was a little bit of mistiming there with that Dark Prince drop. The Dark Prince can do a good job defending against the Sparky because he's got a shield that blocks that first hit. But the Goblin Giant just took down that shield really quickly. Sparky walloped it in one shot, took it down, and
here comes
already you see, another big attack.
So what would I do here if I'm trying to do, if I'm trying to get this counter here, what do I do to stop this Giant? I guess that worked effectively right there.
It did. I'm kind of surprised to see Flobby having now just played his Goblin Giant for the very first time. It works really well to shut down those Sparkies just because it can soak so many hits, and it's got that little bit of chip damage from the Spear Goblins. We're finally seeing
on the
Flobby.
Top, yeah, he's got 2. And I think when the Goblin goes down, do they stay alive for a bit? Do they drop off? And
you get 2 Spear Goblins afterwards, giving you a little bit more buffer room there.
Sure.
You can notice though that the Sparky is not able to hit air targets. Strangely enough, Flobby's actually split lane pushing here. He's going to have Dark Prince Mega Minion down the left side against the Sparkies on the right.
And the Lightning coming in and just doing massive damage there to Tocilovac's ground troops.
Yeah, it's a good counter for that Sparky, but it's just a little bit too little too late for Flobby. I just got to tell you, Allie, I am flabbergasted that Tocilovac has managed to get 2 wins in a row against a pro.
He's got to do this in 9 seconds, and I don't see that happening. So.
Yeah, that's the end of it. Tocilovac is going to close out for another win, back-to-back against this pro from SK Gaming. Our competitor, new to the arena. From my eyes, I haven't seen him before, but clearly he's showing off some great skills and needs only 1 more win to move on to the semifinals.
And he's looking incredibly confident. He seems to be just taking it as he needs to. The patience is there. The control is there. What is that? Do you know what final deck he's going to have to use? Because as we were talking about before, Tocilovac has now won with 2 decks. And as this is Conquest format, he's now only allowed to play his 3rd and final deck.
That's right. Tocilovac has a Royal Giant Furnace deck coming up next. It's a big, beefy, hardcore, try to get a few shots in there with the Royal Giant, and then defend really super hard. The Furnace works particularly well in that role because it can distract any units that target buildings, and it can also deal quite a bit of splash damage with the Fire Spirits popping out. Flobby has the opportunity to choose any of the 3 decks. So he has a Golem Tombstone deck, a P.E.K.K.A. Battle Ram deck, and a Goblin Giant Sparky deck. Those last 2 you've already seen. What I'm looking at, though, in terms of stats is that I think the Royal Giant Furnace deck would be favored against that Goblin Giant Sparky deck.
That's what that was my
Flobby
next question
has.
was going to be, if this were you and you're Flobby, what are you playing against this?
Well, I would try to get my first win on the board as quickly as possible, and I think that the best deck that Flobby has for that would be the Golem Tombstone deck. So that is the one that he chose.
And there it is. Yeah, that's what he's got going on now.
Exactly. So
The Furnace is down.
this is a 13.9% net win advantage for the deck that Flobby is running. But based upon Tocilovac's previous performance, I gotta say, I think he might still have the edge in this matchup.
He's looking incredibly solid here, and so we see there the Tombstone is down. Oh, okay, there he goes. Baby Dargon takes him down. Furnace is going for those skeletons. Probably gonna do some damage on that building. Life's going down, ticking down slowly. I remember we were talking about this before. Didn't initially buildings not go down over time? They just stayed forever.
Yeah. Chief Pat dropping some fun facts there from
fun
the
facts,
alpha
yeah.
build of Clash Royale in
right.
the early days of 2016. Yeah,
I think it was probably a good move for them to add a little bit of a lifetimer on those boys.
yeah, they were super OP back in the old days, but I think we found a way to balance that out. Now, typically in this matchup, the Furnace doesn't get a chance to land those Fire Spirits on tower because of the Tombstone, but early on, Tocilovac had a great push with the Baby Dragon tanking for those Fire Spirits, so he was able to kill that Tombstone in the center and get about 800 net damage on that left side tower. Interestingly enough, though, Tocilovac is actually going to push opposite lane with his Furnace now. He's not going to continue that left side attack.
Yeah, he moved it, I guess, a tile over there to try to now push all of those little flame boys to the right Princess Tower down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting a little bit, well, yeah, he makes it.
This is going to be a really terrifying push from Flobby, though. He's got about a 3 elixir advantage here and not afraid to use Lightning to a +1 advantage, taking out that Furnace and the Mega Mini at the same time. Adding Lumberjack onto this push is going to be deadly against those guards. He chops them up into pieces with just 2 hits, and it looks like the Golem on tower is going to be several swings in here for Flobby, tying this push up over on the left side and actually pushing ahead.
That was beautiful, very nice. I think I can't, oh, wow, okay, yeah, still going 1085 damage now. Oh, and still going.
But here comes the counterattack. We were talking about this Royal Giant able
There
to
he
get quite a few
is.
shots off after you successfully defend. Tombstone could help to defend for Flobby's side, but instead he chooses to try to pull it back there with that Tornado. He's taken several shots already, and that tower down to 725 now puts Tocilovac in the lead on the left lane.
So these Mega Minions, they're strong on attack, but they're pretty squishy. The glass cannons of the sky.
Well, you know, compared against the minions, they're a bit heavier. They can take a few more hits, but yeah, they don't have that many hit points. I do think that the Mega Minion is favored against that Baby Dragon, though, so fortunately for Flobby, I think he's still, or rather, fortunately for Tocilovac, he's running Mega Minion, has a good matchup in the air.
And that Golem is going for that Furnace now. Look at the damage here, let's see. So it's 592 to 926 currently. The damage lead from Tocilovac, and we're gonna see an overtime, obviously, here.
And we very well could just see some spell cycle from Tocilovac. If he sees value dropping a Lightning onto an Ice Wizard and a Tombstone, he could go that way. What he's got to be worried about, though, is just one single Golem push from Flobby could wipe out his whole tower. So I think he made the right choice here in being a bit more defensive and not committing that Lightning early on.
That Barbarian's gonna get some damage down there, too.
Ouch.
A couple of hits on that tower. Oh, down to 274.
He's calling good game. He knows it's coming. The Lightning is dropped. There's nothing from Flobby to block it. And with that, Tocilovac has made a 3-0 sweep against Flobby. A pro player from SK Gaming has been knocked out now in the quarterfinals, and I couldn't be happier for Tocilovac. A relatively unknown name, but he's going to be all on the minds of everyone watching the stream. I'm pretty sure we're going to see him do wonders tomorrow in the semis.
Absolutely, that's the name on everybody's lips, at least here, I'm sure. Tocilovac here putting up in the open qualifier. And as you said, defeating a pro with a clean sweep. Honestly, I just didn't anticipate it. I'm just sitting over here speechless going, sure, okay. That did just happen. All right, that's fine. Anything can happen here at the DreamHack Mobile Series, and that's honestly huge for him. I love an underdog story. I'm really hyped for him, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do tomorrow in the semis.
Me too. I think he took great advantage of some of those early defensive misplays from Flobby and punished expertly. That's all about what Clash Royale is.
Yeah.
You try to avoid mistakes, and then when your opponent makes one, take advantage of it the very best you can. But
yeah.
Don't take it from us. We've got Lucy on the stage for an interview with Tocilovac right now.
Tocilovac, potato. We want to hear you say your name.
Tocilovac.
Oh, Tocilovac.
Yeah.
I did it right. I'm just killing it today with all these names. What's the background on that? Where are you from?
Background, that's my last name. I'm from Serbia.
Serbia, nice, fantastic. Representing here, you came in as the underdog and you upset Flobby. How did you do it?
Well, I played the deck that I'm most comfortable with, and I played relaxed. That's it.
You know, we heard a lot of that in Dallas, saying just be comfortable, playing, have that confidence, and they just brought it in, no nerves. You just said you like to play your deck that you're used to, and you just came in just to dominate in the fashion that you would in a comfortability of whatever environment. You are going to be facing up against some hard competition tomorrow, however. Do you plan to do anything different? Are you going to change up anything about your play style at all?
I'm just planning to get a good night's sleep, and I will probably change my decks, but we will see.
What's your favorite deck?
Favorite deck, probably Royal Giant.
Yes. What about it within there of cards for our viewers at home that may not perhaps understand what cards are within these said decks as we title them? We're giving them like 1 or 2 card name decks, but there are 8 in total. What makes it so fantastic?
Probably the part where you can make a great counterattack with an easy defense. That's it.
Okay. I'm so sorry. We're like, this is a dance right now.
Yeah, you just put Royal Giant after you defend. It's easy deck. Yeah.
So having confidence, relax, and a good defense, would you say that's kind of the recipe to winning in Clash Royale?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, we're excited to see what you're going to do tomorrow. Congratulations. You're moving on to the semifinals. And you all at home, don't go anywhere. We've got more Clash Royale.